So here's a breakdown of an average summer day hanging out with my best friend Mark in my hometown of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Wake up, head to Mark's house, watch Price is Right. Head outside, dick around for a while, maybe play some wiffle ball, maybe steal some shit, maybe light something on fire, you know, the usual. Then go down into Mark's basement and play Nintendo 64 and eat bagel bites. Awesome day, every time, never gets old, Monday through Friday, I love it. But Mark and I ended up going to different high schools, and then we ended up going to different states for college, so I didn't get to see Mark very much. I was back home my sophomore year of college, and my job at that summer was as a camp counselor. The best part of this job was the fact that if it rained, I got the day off from work with pay. And that summer it rained a lot. It rained so much that there was flooding. Like, for 3 days straight, it just poured. The entire park was underwater. So I'm sitting at home, and it's not even raining anymore. There's just tons of water on the park. And Mark calls me up. He's like, "Hey, Mark, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Watching Price is Right." He's like, "Hell yeah." And he's like, "Have you seen the Conestoga River?" Now, my mom at the time lived on a golf course which had this little Conestoga River that wound through it. And I was like, "Yeah, man, it's totally flooded. Half the course is underwater." And he's like, "Yeah, you want to go tubing?" I'm like, "That's a great idea, Mark, get over here." And he's like, "Oh, they're playing Mountain Climbers. I got to watch that first, but then I'll be over." Mark shows up about the Showcase Showdown, and he comes in my house with one tube, and it's not an actual inner tube. It's one of those plastic things you can buy at like a pool supply warehouse. And we're sitting on the couch as he inflates it, and the local news comes on. And the newswoman is like, "Flooding continues around the Susquehanna Valley today. Please do not get in the water. There is a strong undercurrent." And I look at Mark. I'm like, "Mark, I think this is a bad idea." And Mark, between breaths, is like, "Yeah, but we're getting in the water." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. It's an awesome idea. What am I talking about?" Forget the news. We get in our swim trunks. We run down to the 12th hole. We like put the thing in the water, and then like each of us like splits our legs on one side of it, and then we're like hip to hip as we push out into the stream, which we're hoping for like whitewater rapids and all this fun stuff. But we get out, and they were just like coasting, and like nothing's happening. All this adventure is just kind of like, man. And then Mark looks at me and he's like, "Mike, is the 6th hole upstream from here? Because it smells funny." Now, you guys might not know this about Crossgates Golf Course, but on the 6th hole, we can stand on the tee box and overlook the sewage treatment plant that sits next to it. There's an amazing silence between two people when they realize they're floating in a river of poo. But now we're starting to pick up a little speed in our crap river. And we're like barreling towards this freeway overpass that's up ahead. And I look at Mark, I'm like, "Mark, how are we gonna get home?" Because for some reason this is the first time this has come up. And Mark looks back at me and he's like, "I don't know, we just got in the water." And I'm like, "Mark, we need to get out of the water." Now up ahead of us, as we're barreling towards this freeway overpass, is a group of volunteer firemen. And they're sitting there with a truck and a winch because they're waiting for assholes like us that they need to bail out of the water. And they look at us, they're like, "You boys need some help?" Because I'm from the Alabama part of Pennsylvania, by the way, right in the middle there. And Mark and I are best buddies. We got a plan, so we're like, "No!" Mark and I pull off an amazing maneuver. We look for this gigantic pile of debris in the middle of the stream, and Mark grabs onto it. And I, being the former swim team member, unlodge myself from the little floaty that we've been sitting on. I can swim every stroke there is, but I don't want to stick my face in the poop water. So I just on a doggy paddle my way across the stream through the current to the side embankment. And when I get there, I reach out and I grab onto a limb and I get a handful of thorns and my own blood. And it's like, "Oh, damn it." But I look across and I'm like, "Mark, come on, big guy." And so Mark pushes off and like a big puppy, his first time in the pool, he's got a big floaty, he just kind of flaps his way across through the current, and I grab onto him and I swing him around, and he grabs onto the branch and he gets a handful of thorns and blood, and he's like, "Damn it, Mike." I'm like, "We got nowhere else to go, Mark." So we start pushing our way through this thicket that is just pure thorns, and we're getting cut to shit. And are you guys familiar with a plant called burn hazel? It's like poison ivy, except that instead of making you itch, it makes everything feel like it's lava. So we're full of that as we like stamp through, bloody and like swelling and covered in crap, and I'm just yelling, and Mark looks at me and he's like, Mike, this was a terrible idea. I'm like, Mark, I know you said get in the water anyway. And hearing our shrill cries for help, the firemen again yell, you boys need some help. And Mark and I in harmony are like, no. I shit you not. At this exact moment, wasps on wasps on wasps. And they're pissed. Like, they're pissed for wasp standards of piss because they've been through like Noah's flood for wasps. And they just start stinging the hell out of Mark and I. And as we get nailed once, twice, 10 times, Mark screams, Baireuther, run! And we just burst out of the stream like two white salmon swimming upstream. We're like, we run down the 12th hole, the 13th hole, over gravel roads, all the way back to my mom's place. I am covered in crap. I smell terrible. I am bloody. I am swollen. Everything hurts. But I am back with my best friend again. So it has been an awesome, awesome day. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the show.